Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, another one of my YouTube videos, and not necessarily current events. And this is another one for a special audience, but I think all of you will like this. And I'm addressing this to the Ayn Rand Institute in California, Southern California. And I want to bring to your attention what I've learned over the course of 5 decades. And I've gotten to the point now where I can blow out any court that you put me in, any judge, any local dumbass, doesn't matter who it is. And I did this, by the way, in my South Carolina felony case after being transported across the country. 2 months took to get across the country on 4 unmarked federal military aircraft. You tell me what the jurisdiction was. And I got there and I stunned the courtroom into silence in 30 seconds, kind of like the reappearance of a 21st century John Galt. Stopped and cold and never got over it. It took a while to get back for various reasons I'll discuss more fully later if we do make a connection here. But that said, I'm good enough that I can beat every court, every charge. It doesn't matter what it is because of the unopposed issues I advocate. Starting out with the fact there are no states. Now these are things I'm sure Miss Rand wouldn't have understood herself. But I was very thankful when I first came to California. I got acquainted with her work, and wouldn't you know, only weeks after her untimely death, and that's unfortunate. I'm left to wonder if I had known about her at the height of her powers back when I was in high school in the '60s, what might have happened. Unfortunately, she was pretty well shackled by the mainstream media as well, and I didn't learn, but better late than never. And I did, and what that did was that actually is what got me into later the study of law that I've been doing over the course of 5 decades. And with the perspective I learned from her objectivism and her books, especially Atlas Shrugged, which is a really great book, and The Fountainhead, and you understand what's going on and why. That really gave me a great background when I got into it, and with some of the early teachers I had with law, to understand the proper perspective. Once you do that, and like she says, we people, we have rights. We're the reason for existence. Our life is our raison d'etre, the cause of our existence, and it should be that way. Our happiness. I mean, didn't they say in the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness? See if you look out there and find any of that nowadays, especially with all this COVID crap going on. And I'm sure she'd recognize this for exactly what I do, the fraud that it really is. Not even an epidemic, let alone a pandemic. For comparative purposes, by the way, note that the bubonic plague in the 14th century wiped out 25% of Europe. Even with their egregiously inflated figures nowadays, the death rate wouldn't even approach maybe 1/20th of 1%. Now, that's not saying that there are some serious elements here, but not anything like what they want you to believe. And also, given the government's history with chemical and biological warfare, it's not too assuring on that ground either. And then go out there to Fort Detrick, Maryland, and things like that. And I know some about that too. But what it is a plan to see how far along they've gotten the American people where they will just sullenly accept federal, regional, martial law rule. This wouldn't have happened, I think, even in the days of my youth, back in the 50s, when old Bubblehead Eisenhower was in office. But who knows? It might have been in progress because you go back to the 30s and FDR gets in office. That's when things started to change for the worse seriously. So I don't know that part. But that said, that work I did with Miss Rand and her books, and by the way, I have heard volumes of all of her objectivist newsletters, and they're still good reading 50 years later, and I do some from time to time. Matter of fact is, and I wish I had known about those then and gotten them then, it would have made a difference in my life also. So that said, any of you out there that can make serious connections with me to discuss things, we have a lot to work together for and with and can help each other. And that's what it is I want to do and get the word out and get a lot more people going into court using the issues that I use and saying, not so fast here. And if we work across the spectrum, Americans, Asians, and Africans, and cut out this divide and conquer crap they've been doing for 150 years, We're going to get there a hell of a lot faster. And we'll get the government back that we're supposed to have with the original intent of the framers. Not to say that was the perfect government, but it's a lot better than what we have now. And we can go from there and make improvements to it consistent with the Constitution, not in contravention of it. And that's what's been going on since at least the 14th War Amendment in 1868. And I can tell you a cappella off the top of my head that the ratification of that amendment violated all 6 articles of the Constitution. And I can tell you why. And I can tell you who caused it to happen. That's the kind of ability I have. And that's why they can't beat me in court. It's why I've never been challenged. Never spent a day in jail until I can't get into jail here in California. It took the idiots in South Carolina to do that. And for crying out loud, those of you that don't know, South Carolina is the home of states' rights. And I get there, not one of them has an idea who John C. Calhoun is. Give me a break here. Well, I did. And I set them back. Boy, if I had it, that's $1 million video just to see the stunned look on their faces. Because basically what happened is I put in a writ of habeas corpus to the California Supreme Court, or the South Carolina Supreme Court, excuse me, in the Dillon Root case. And that set off some alarms because I was challenging jurisdiction, just like I did in my subsequent case when I was physically there after the 2-month journey. And I got charged with practicing law without a license, and the judge reads the charge, and I laughed. And there I am, by the way, shackled hand and foot in a red jail suit. I laughed. Said the problem with that is, Judge, I don't practice law. I get it right the first time. And she went on and said, well, we have to see if you're competent to represent yourself. And I said, not so fast here. You're assuming I'm incompetent and I'm in need of an attorney. Now, the problem with that is that the right to an attorney is vested in the 14th War Amendment, comes under the Due Process Clause. And the problem with that is that the U.S. Supreme Court has said in Barron v. Baltimore, 7 Peters 243, the Bill of Rights doesn't apply to the states. And I said it on the record just like that. Stunned him into silence. What I was saying was, where the hell are we? We're not in the state of South Carolina. That much I knew. And I was sure if I got to trial, and I knew from day one that was never going to happen either, that I could prove that we were in the territory of South Carolina, and it might be worse than that. So this kind of knowledge here, if we work together, we can get the word out. We can do each other some great services here and advance both of our agendas and do it significantly and quickly, and maybe before the end of the year, get a lot of really good work done here. So any of you there that have serious connections, send me an email, youwinningcourt@gmail.com. We'll talk about it. And the audience in general, please do the same thing. Send me an email, youwinningcourt@gmail.com. I'll send you information about my materials, what I have, what I do. You're going to love it. And like I say, all we got to do is start working together here and cut out this, divide and conquer crap, and we will get there. That said, like my videos, subscribe, tell your friends, get the word out. The sooner we start seriously getting involved, the quicker we're going to get there and get our country back and maybe show the rest of the world that it can be done. Thank you.